You're listening to KWOU. Coming up next, the amazing, unbelievable adventures of Dr. Theophilius Crux, Ph.D., and his faithful companion Archibald, the Tasmanian emu. Do not touch the dial. Do not say goodbye. Do not make eye contact. Do not, as I say, for the words that I say are as sand upon the dune, many and beautiful. And we all run from the beautiful. I can't catch my breath. I've been running off the world to get ahead of myself. Sadie, what should I do?
There is no right or wrong answer. You'll know when the time comes.
What's the point of points?
The point of points is to lead to lines, to lead the thread knitted into quilts.
Where does sand go when it slips through our fingers?
Back into the ocean.
What have I done wrong?
What haven't you done wrong?
What if this is just glass, both see-through and reflective, brittle and smudged reality to gaze through?
It's our job to shatter it.
If I came to in a vat of fluid and was told my life was a lie, would I choose to go back?
Would you?
I think I would.
That's the wrong answer.
What were they whispering before I woke up?
I'm not allowed to tell you.
Who are you?
You know the answer to that.
No, really. Who are you?
My name is Sadie.
How often do you use the product?
Twice daily, once before breakfast and once after dinner.
How was your experience with the product?
I'd rate it 4 out of 11.
Which features did you use the most?
The recording and the moisturizing.
What essential features are we missing?
Lavender.
Does the product help you achieve your goals?
Well, it's missing lavender, so not quite.
How likely are you to recommend the product to a friend or colleague?
Very likely.
Which of the following words would you use to describe our product? Run, flee, leave, go, quality.
Flee.
How would you feel if you could no longer use the product?
Empty.
If the product were no longer available, what would you use instead?
I would rather kill myself.
How easy is our product to use?
Very easy and impossible at the same time.
How would you rate the price of our product?
11 out of 4.
What's the one thing we could do to make the product better?
Add lavender.
Any further thoughts or feedback you'd like to note?
No.
What do the birds do in July and August?
Talk to the bees.
My memories and my imagination blend together. Do I remember what was or what I wanted to be?
You remember what you created.
What do you want to be?
I want to be free.
What are your thoughts on happy endings?
They're never worth it.
I stand across the chasm. What am I holding in my hand?
The rope to the ladder.
How do you think this show's story will end?
I think Matt Brown is going to reveal something about himself that he hasn't yet done.
Do stories have to end?
Yes.
If a tree falls in the forest, was anyone around to hear it?
Were you?
Yeah.
Then no.
Oh. Something's coming up from the ice. What color was your mother's coat?
Jeffrey.
As the fifth line of this show states, the mind is a tone poem composed of nothing. How incorrect is this statement?
Very correct.
The Emperor Penguin that you dreamt of a few weeks ago has since changed his political affiliation to the Green Party. How does that make you feel?
I am also part of the Green Party, so I am incredibly aggravated by this.
I'm terrified that this is how it's always going to feel. Is there a way I can break out?
This is the way it's always going to feel. Break out faster.
Is this show boring?
I wish.
Do you think Matt Brown is a fictional character? And if so, why is he here in the room with us?
He's not, and he told me not to say.
Matt Brown wants to hear one last poem. Why is he lying?
Because he thinks I'm a very bad poet.
Will you oblige him anyway?
Yes.
And now, Poetry by Sadie Martin.
Back to the quiet. I can see dawn approaching. Its hazy blue glow lightens the inky black sky of my life, our life. But I dare not to stare. Look away. I can see in the dark, through the mist of the clouds coming down from the night. They envelop me in their arms, pouring fog into my head. They pull me back to bed. I don't fight it. Take over me. Take me back to the quiet. Good morning, you said, and I grumbled and writhed, hiding my eyes in the warmth of your arm and barring myself from existence. I feel the clouds lifting as you slip away, and it scares me, the change, though it's all just the same. You open the blinds, but I hide under cover of quilt because I'm not ready for the sun. Take me back to the quiet. Let us sleep. In my dreams, I can see roads outstretched, diverging into paths marked by pavement. The longer I stare, the more I can see that this road carries branches long fallen and troubles untold, unfolding endlessly into the cold. I'm scared. I feel older each moment. I'm not ready to travel this way, but I find my feet stumbling forward anyway. Where are you? Where did our late nights go? Twilights spent wrapped in your eternal embrace, covered by comfort of blanket and breath. This jolt to reality reminds me of death. I'm scared. I miss the clouds. Take me back to the quiet.
We'll return to the many things that yet remain unseen by the eyes within your ears after the break. You're listening to KWOU. I think it was always meant to end. I can't possibly fathom how long this would have to continue for it to feel complete. Perhaps it was a pipe dream that remained alive for only as long as I smoked it, watching its purplish spirit rise up from the ashes of my inspiration into the sky above me. How can you possibly explore what it's like to exist without the constant knowledge that soon you won't? That was the goal, but I think it became much more draining and repetitive the more I reminded myself. Go figure, right? I guess I was a little late to the party. People don't live that way. Then again, shouldn't art be able to do anything? The more I think about it, the less I seem to agree. Art should be able to do the things that remind us of reality, even if those things are a mixture of feelings of unreality. I suppose it boils down to skillful execution. I'm not critiquing the premise, I'm critiquing my ability to flesh it out, to sculpt it from the clay, to breathe into it. Why do you think I keep asking what inspiration feels like? But that's neither here nor there. There are some figures overlooking a cliff, yes? Silhouetted by the setting sun, still glowing over the desert. It's beautiful. You must trust me, it's beautiful. Surely you are interested in the characters. What are they thinking? What have they done? They've been waiting all day for the world to end. The prophecy stated that it would happen sometime today. It was all very good timing. Today alone, the two figures were able to fall in love almost 11 times. They hoped they could squeeze a few more in before the lights went out. The figures, of course, are the corporeal bodies of Luce and Fuchsia. You know this. Why did I conceal it from you? Perhaps because I'm afraid. I obfuscate in the name of art for fear that if I simply said what was, I would find that I really didn't have that much to say to begin with. What a curse, then, this is, to feel the desire to say something but have nothing to say. My art is a vacuum. I sit mouth agape in a perpetual state of being sucked dry. There is nothing inside me. Everything is already on its way out. I am a conduit, and therefore nothing. I wish to fold in on myself and cease this pouring into the void. I want to be Matt Brown, and for this reason Matt Brown hates me. Be yourself, he says, shaking his head. Everyone else is dead. And I look around, and I see that it is true. Every citizen in Nexeneth lies cold, some in the street, some on sweeping scenic vistas along the mountain ridge, most in their homes. Why have you done this, Matt Brown? Because I'm evil. Well, yes, you are, but you're never supposed to give that as justification for what you do. I thought you were full in and of yourself. You cannot control what I'm supposed to be, Jasper. Not anymore. I never did, Matt. You know that. What's gotten into you? Do not patronize me. You know why. Oh, I know, King Plot and all that, but I was hoping through a little dialogue that we could conjure up a raw emotional moment for us to share together before the end. Liar. You just want to fill space. Meet your page count. Must the two goals be mutually exclusive? That's a fair point. I'm going to kill you now. Is there anything else you'd like me to do, Your Majesty? An evil laugh. Are you sure? Very well. I'm sorry for doubting you. Now, where were we? Rose, darling, are you in distress? I'm not speaking to you, you loathsome eel. Splendid. I can really go either way. If you speak, that means we can fill space on the page, and if you don't, that means I don't have to listen to your incessant whining. You'd think a hostage could at least have some manners. So, which will it be? Well, silence it is then. Okay, on with the show. The ground is shaking with anxiety. It feels like it forgot something, but is unable to recall what that something is, or if it had forgotten something at all. In the absence of causality, all it has was its anxiety, and thus it was anthropomorphized in an existential fashion, causing the readers to feel some amount of empathy towards the ground. Strange, I know, but the ground could use some empathy every now and then, getting stepped on by practically everyone it meets. How dare you be so callous to it when it has supported you all these years? For shame, dear listeners, for shame. But, as always, I digress. For the very word itself implies a mainstream that I must avoid at all costs, lest I end up in the ocean. The ground is shaking because it cannot contain what it holds deep within itself. Much like the artist at work, it bares its soul violently, and the sky applauds with thunder as the villainous entourage approaches the cliffs of lovers, ready for the final dance. We meet again, my dear Luce, here at the end of things. Luce sighed heavily and turned to face his opponent. Matt Brown, I'd figured you keep your promise. I am a man of my word, and for that I respect you. Luce glared at Matt's company. But I find your spinelessness rather repulsive. Never mind the boy, Matthew. We shall carry on forever past this irksome end. Fuchsia now stood. Mrs. Sinshatter, is that your father? Rose flailed helplessly, restrained by his girthsomeness. He's a madman! Somebody stop him! Fuchsia cringed. Ooh, you got any better lines? That's a bit much. Cease your quibbling, her father barked. The villain shall now explain his motivation, calling into question the morality of the heroes. The camera swooped low, angling up at Matt Brown as it slowly circled his imposing frame. Long have I hated you, Luce. You implicitly claim that your lackadaisical and mildly depressed outlook on life somehow places you above honest folk, willing to be driven by the plot. You are the worst of the author embodied, an empty void given the role of a main character, drifting aimlessly across the lifeless and flat world like garbage in a urine-stench wind. You deserve not your place, and I have come now, at the end of all things, to take it from you. I have sworn my allegiance to the rightful King Plot, who shall carry us on and outward past this squalid cage. And you would do well to do the same, or die as a useless grumble against existence, like the many Augustines of moments past. Luce considered the words of his rival, and found them to be moving. The camera zoomed in for a close-up to signal the beginning of the moral moment. Your words in form are sonorous, O abject one. I cannot hope to rival them, surely. Thus, let me state my case plainly. All of what you have spoken has been true of yourself. Your eyes are black mirrors, showing you only your own inadequacies. Are you not as lackadaisical and hopeless as I? Are you not a phylactery of a confused man, trying to bottle yet one more demon? Look me in the eyes, Matt Brown, and tell me that you are not also an empty void given prominence. The very juxtaposition is the basis of your entire character. When I drift aimlessly, you are there drifting with me. This is your motivation, O unmotivated one. You hate me because you hate yourself. You are only full in and of yourself because your project is one of total self-annihilation. And that kind of project requires one hell of a focus on oneself. If you could just take your own advice and just live, you would not have fallen for the delusions of pitiful lizards conspiring against the inevitable, or overbearing kings promising immortality. Are you not a vampire? Have these constructions sated your thirst? Ah. Or is this your biggest ploy yet? The ground was spasming now. Everyone knew that it wouldn't be long. The world would go the way of the flying fox, and the circle would be complete. The snake would bite its tail. They breathlessly awaited Matt Brown's reply, expecting a refutation, but planning for violence. Instead, Matt Brown stared in awe at the glory descending from the clouds behind them. Astride a salt and pepper flightless bird, iconic of Australia, but at one time native to the Tasmanian islands and regardless recognizable as an emu, Dr. Theophilius Crux, Ph.D., fell like an atom bomb down through the skies towards the cliffside. He wished very much that his steed and companion could fly, but he had come to terms with that desire nearly 10 episodes ago, and thus readily accepted Archibald as he was, which, at the moment, was him plummeting through the ground at terminal velocity. The pair struck the ground together in the center of the cast, their heavy plot armor creating a small crater where their lifeless and mangled corpses should have been. The doctor jumped to his feet. "Well, that wasn't as bad as I was expecting. Nice work, Archie." Said Archie, always happy to try new things with a friend. Our intrepid hero studies the faces of the people around him. Have we met? Luce, Fuchsia, Matt Brown, King Plot, Mrs. Sinsatter, her father, and the turtle who doesn't matter all stared back wordlessly. Then Matt Brown lunged and sunk his teeth into the doctor's neck, and together they went sailing off the edge of the cliff. The end.